Shores of B2, welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Tishy Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
So I know we've all been seeing this story of District Attorney FANI Willis. In all honesty, I do not pay attention to politics. I don't care most times. On this channel, I don't talk about things that I don't know. You know, there's a bunch of times people ask me to talk about things, but you know what we deal with here on the Coffee Pod: intersexual dynamics, dating, relationships, marriage, modern dating, and the tragedy that we are in. But recently, this specific case started to venture over into the territory of topics I discuss here on the Coffee Pod. And so here I am. And I tried my best to get like a video that summarized everything that was going on. So we're going to be following a woman who goes by the TikTok handle, I'm not a lawyer, but. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but she did a good job summarizing this, and I'll be providing my commentary. So you get to get the summary and my commentary. From what it sounds like, the district attorney of Fulton County, FANI Willis, drank some coffee. No more wasting time. Let's get it.
I'm not a lawyer, but that didn't stop me from reading through all of the available docs regarding FANI Willis, her alleged boyfriend, his wife, and the Trump RICO case. Let me give you a recap about what's going on.
Let's hear it.
Disclaimer that my goal is only to recap what is being alleged in the documents. I'm not saying it's true, and I'm not saying it's not true. So none of this is my opinion. It's what one person is claiming against another. You can make your own judgments or see how it all plays out in court. This is FANI Willis. She is the Fulton County District Attorney, Fulton County in Atlanta, Georgia, and she is responsible for many of the high-profile cases that you hear coming out of Georgia. The YSL RICO case, Miss FANI Willis. The YFN RICO case, Miss FANI Willis. The Trump RICO case, Miss FANI Willis. She's kind of a big deal. Well, meet Michael Roman. He was a Trump campaign aide, and he is one of the 19 defendants charged in that Trump RICO case. And last week, Michael Roman and his attorney filed a motion to dismiss the RICO case and to disqualify FANI Willis and her office from prosecuting the case. Because according to them, one of the special prosecutors that she hired to prosecute the RICO case is actually her boyfriend.
Let's go. It's getting there.
And they said she ain't mentioned that part when she hired him. And they also say that this boyfriend of hers is underqualified, overpaid, and he's using the money that he gets for working on the case to go on trips with Willis. They also say that because FANI Willis never received approval to hire this guy, which they say is Georgia law, the indictments that he assisted in getting are effectively invalid and have to be thrown out. Okay, let's start with the first point. Is that her man? The motion says that while it's not clear when the relationship started, individuals familiar with the situation say that FANI Willis and the man, whose name is Nathan Wade, were romantically involved prior to her hiring him to work on this case. It says that the two have cohabitated together in some form or fashion, and that on November 2nd, 2021, which was one day after Nathan Wade officially started working on this case, he filed for divorce from his wife. Oh, did I mention that? He was married. His divorce is still not finalized, and the proceedings for that are sealed.
So as you guys can tell, this situation is messy. This sounds like something out of like some high school dating story of friends who work together, shitting where they sleep. Which you shouldn't do, by the way. So there's that. And why should you not do that? Well, like it was stated, she didn't disclose that she was in a relationship with him when you have to do that. And he most likely would not have gotten that position where he made hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're accusing her from benefiting from. And that, of course, brings in conflicts of interest, along with other issues they had about this whole situation. It would just be easier if everybody stayed in their marriages, and if Miss FANI Willis had a husband, and if the man she was dating stayed in his marriage. But no, here we are right now. Let's keep listening.
You know I checked. But Nathan's ex has apparently provided bank statements recently that confirm that Nathan Wade has purchased tickets for both himself and FANI Willis to places like Napa Valley, the Caribbean, and to cruises, which only matters because this motion claims that if Nathan is getting paid for working on this case and then spending some of the money on Willis, that means she is directly benefiting from the prosecution of this case, which would be a violation of her oath of office.
Right.
Okay, now let's get into underqualified but overpaid. The motion says that based on speaking with individuals familiar with Nathan Wade and additional research done by Michael's attorney, Nathan Wade has never prosecuted a single felony trial. They say in a district where there are a number of fully capable attorneys who have experiences in prosecuting RICO cases and at the very least criminal trials, FANI WILLIS chose to hire Nathan Wade, who has no experience in either. And according to them, she's paid him a total of $653,881 over the span of a little over 2 years.
That's a lot of money. That's more than she makes. Let's keep listening.
And for the sake of comparison, FANI WILLIS is paid $198,266 per year. Okay, now let's talk about this approval that they're saying she didn't get and why that's a problem. The motion says that in 2021, FANI WILLIS presented to the Board of Commissioners seeking to get additional money for her district to clear her backlog of cases. Some of it was just a backlog, some of it was from COVID, and she also said that crime was on the rise in the district and she needed resources to address it. So the Board of Commissioners approved that request and give her the funding. This matters because the motion says that that money that she got didn't go to COVID backlog. It instead has been used to pay Nathan Wade and prosecute this case, allegedly. The motion also notes that FANI presenting to the board in 2021 proves that she is aware of how to get approval from that board. But yet she chose not to get approval when it was time to hire Wade. And the motion says that she knew if she went to go get approval, they were going to ask her about her relationship with him and about his work experience. And she didn't want to answer that. The motion also says that prior to beginning work on this case, Nathan Wade never filed his oath of office. So according to Georgia law, he was never authorized to serve as a special prosecutor, which therefore means all of the work he's done, again, is invalid.
Here's what's interesting to me is you've got a district attorney here who was really influential in getting a lot of these cases being successful, seemingly successful, with like the YSL case and other really popular cases, and to the point where she has to walk around with security because she's fearing for her life, and somehow still decides to compromise her reputation by bringing street behavior to the workplace. And now she's being forced to drink coffee. Obviously, there were huge mistakes made here and lack of judgment coming from her and the prosecutor side who she hired. But more on her because she is the woman that hired him for obvious reasons that he was busting the cheeks. That's not slow.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Let's keep listening.
So they say the indictment is void and that FANI and her office should be disqualified because of the conflict of interest on the case. FANI has until February 2nd to file a written response to this motion, and an actual hearing has been scheduled for February 15th to talk about it all. But one more thing. Remember how I said the divorce between Nathan and his ex, whose name is Jocelyn Wade, is not final yet?
Mm-hmm.
Well, child, Jocelyn, through her attorneys, has now subpoenaed FANI WILLIS to be deposed regarding her relationship with...
You look at these two, they loved each other and cared for each other and talked about how they would never hurt each other. And then there's this, right? People literally trying to ruin each other's reputation. So again, this shit gets really messy. Let's keep listening.
FANI got the subpoena and responded asking that the judge grant a protective order, which would mean that FANI cannot be deposed in this divorce, because according to her, there isn't anything that she can say that will change the outcome of this irretrievably broken marriage, especially considering that the marriage was over after, quote, Jocelyn confessed to having an adulterous relationship with Nathan's longtime friend.
All right. So listen, are you paying attention to how crazy this shit is? Not only was this prosecutor that was appointed by FANI WILLIS sleeping with a woman who he was not married to while he was married at the time. Not only that, but his actual wife confessed to sleeping with his best friend.
Put that coffee down.
Now, this is messy. FANI says Jocelyn is doing this just to harass her and damage her professional reputation. A hearing has been set for January 31st in the divorce proceedings because now Jocelyn wants all the divorce docs to be unsealed so we all can see them. This video was long, but I want to play this clip of FANI Willis at church last Sunday, seemingly addressing some of these allegations.
I, as Commissioner Thorne and so many others, questioned my decision in a special counsel. I appointed 3 special counsel, as is my right to do, paid them all the same hourly rate. I hired 1 white woman, I hired 1 white man, and I hired 1 black man. Isn't it them who's playing the race card when they only question 1?
Now, y'all know I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know if any of this will stand, but for the sake of optics, this don't look good.
No, it doesn't look good. And when I think of her going to a church and making statements at the church, I'm not surprised, man. Another reason why men today don't take church seriously, why is she up there on the pulpit talking about this, and why they're giving, you see, these churches are run by feminists nowadays, and at this point they should have said, hey, keep your statements to yourself. We want to see how this plays out in the long run, but no. All right, so real quick before I play this video, for those of you who are still like, yo, so what exactly is she getting accused of? Well, the first thing is benefiting monetarily via trips, expensive dinners, vacations from the man who she appointed, who's getting paid a lot more than she's getting paid to prosecute the RICO case. And then also they were questioning the timeline at which they were allegedly no longer together. Did she know that she couldn't hire him if she was involved with him? I know that she probably knew that because she doesn't seem like a woman who's not that smart. No more wasting time. Let's keep watching.
Okay, so regardless of all of the drama and the mess, because it's messy, involved in this situation, what really matters and what the defense attorneys are trying to get at and prove to the judge comes down to 2 things. Number 1, what is the timeline of the romantic relationship between FANI and Nathan? FANI and Nathan say that they started dating in early 2002, but the defense attorneys say that they started dating in October of 2019. And the second thing that they are focused on proving in this hearing is, what did Nathan Wade spend monetarily on FANI Willis? And did it in fact come from the paycheck that he gets from Fulton County taxpayers? So Ashley Merchant, this woman, is Michael Roman's attorney, and she is the one who filed the motion from the beginning. She's the one who first made these claims, and so she's leading on the defense side. The first witness that Ashley calls is this woman. Her name is Robin Yurdy, and she claims to be a good friend of FANI's since college. At one point within the last few years, she started working at the DA's office up until 2022 when she resigned. And when she's testifying, she says that FANI and Nathan started dating in 2019. This matters because Nathan signed his contract to work on this RICO case on November 1st, 2021. And so the defense is claiming that Nathan and FANI started dating prior to him signing the contract and also prior to his marriage ending. And this ex-friend of FANI's supports that claim.
So you know that their relationship, their personal relationship, began shortly after this municipal court conference.
Yes.
And when I say personal, romantic.
Yes.
And do you understand it that their relationship began in 2019 and continued until the last time you spoke with her?
Yes.
Because this is a RICO and 18 co-defendants, there are a ton of attorneys who all get the chance to question these witnesses. So after Ashley Merchant is done with Robin Yurdy, some of the other attorneys get their chance to ask questions. And the next one up, again, focuses on the timeline.
Are you certain that Miss Willis told you about the romantic relationship with Mr. Wade prior to November 1st of 2021?
Yes.
Now, did you also have observations of Mr. Wade and Miss Willis together prior to November 1st of 2021?
Yes.
And did you observe them do things that are common among people having a romantic relationship?
You know what that means. Let's keep watching.
Yes.
On cross-examination with FANI's attorneys, she focuses on Robin's work performance while she worked at the DA's office.
You were disciplined several times in the district attorney's office during your employment there, correct?
No.
You weren't written up ever for poor performance, Ms. Yurdy.
Once, not several.
One time you were written up for poor performance. Were you counseled several times about your performance in the district attorney's office that was subpar.
No,
Did the district attorney tell you that your performance was insufficient and that you were going to be fired?
no,
That never happened.
no. Maybe when we went at the end, what's the question?
The question, Ms. Yurdi, was, did the district attorney ever counsel you on your poor performance in the district attorney's office, inform you that you were going to be fired?
I don't really know how to answer that.
I'm looking for the truth.
I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, the situation happened. That wasn't my fault, and I either was going to resign or be let go. So
This is her best friend, quote unquote, or really good friend. You know she knows the truth, man.
You understood that that was the situation. You could resign or you could be let go.
correct. Yes.
And so basically, she just proved that she had an idea that she was going to be let go.
Then Nathan Wade gets on the stand. Ashley Merchant starts off talking about the history that she has with Nathan.
Prior to filing this motion to disqualify, you and I were friends, correct?
Yes,
And in fact, I supported you when you ran for judge in 2016.
you did.
I wore your shirts. My kids wore your shirts.
Hold up. She wanted it too? No, maybe she's married because she said my kids wore your shirts. It should have been me.
Merchant,
Fines.
your personal opinions have no relevance.
Okay.
And
I-
I mean that in the best way.
That's
All right?
completely fine. I
Let's
will
get to
move
the
on.
point.
And then from there, Ashley focuses on some claims that Nathan Wade made in his divorce filings. These are like sworn statements that he is saying is true, but she's saying they're not.
It says to identify any and all occasions where you entertained a member of the other sex, okay, who's not related to blood,
Mhm.
and including dining, drinking, restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels, all of that. Okay. And what was your answer to that?
None.
None. Okay. You again updated that December 22nd, 2023. You updated those responses again after the motion to disqualify was filed, though, correct? And so your new responses, you now changed your answer from that you didn't have any of this to you're asserting the privilege under 24-5-505, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. They asked you for documents about travel with a romantic partner in December 2023. And you under oath said you did not have any of those, correct?
I did not.
Okay.
And they asked me about gifts.
Right.
I've never purchased a gift for Miss Willis.
And they asked you about receipts for dinner.
He says, I don't buy gifts for these women. I only give them one thing.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Yes, sir. No, let's keep listening. My bad, guys.
Receipts for drinks, hotels, bars, and restaurants. And you said you did not have any of those.
I did not and do not have any receipts for any of those things.
Okay. But you did travel with Miss Willis in 2023, correct?
I did.
And you traveled with her in 2022, correct?
I did.
And you traveled with her in 2021, correct?
No.
So in May, you said you had not, in May 2023, in the divorce case, you said you had not had a personal relationship, an affair, a romantic relationship with anyone.
That's correct.
But you told this court in the affidavit that you did have one that started in 2022. So that would have been ongoing at 2023.
So here I think there's a distinction, if you'd allow me to explain.
Please.
The interrogatory asked the question during the course of your marriage.
Or to date.
So my marriage was irretrievably broken in 2015, ma'am, by agreement. My wife and I agreed that once she had the affair in 2015, that we'd get a divorce.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so he did leave after he found out that his best friend was smashing. That's crazy, by the way. To me, that's the right thing to do. And what I mean, he left commitment to the relationship is what he is saying. I was curious about why he was denying that, because I'm like, well, you didn't get divorced till 2023. But we've got to remember that those the divorce documents are sealed, and who knows?
We didn't get a divorce immediately because my children were still in school, and I refused to allow them to grow up without their father at the time. So we waited. We waited until The youngest graduated and we dropped her off at college and then filed for the divorce.
Which is pretty common.
So if you're asking me about the interrogatory as it relates to having the 2022 relationship with District Attorney Willis, I'm going to say because my marriage was irretrievably broken, I was free to have a relationship.
So the question, though, was if you had had a relationship. And in 2023, you said you did not. And that is different than what you said in this affidavit, correct?
No, ma'am. I said during the course of my marriage. So in 2015, my marriage was irretrievably broken. So I did not have a relationship with anyone during the course of my marriage.
When did your romantic relationship with Miss Willis begin?
2022.
When in 2022?
Early 2022.
So you were appointed in November of 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
And your relationship started early. What's early? January, February?
Around March.
But you two met at an October 2019 judicial conference, correct?
Yes, ma'am. As I was exiting the conference, another judge was standing outside who was a friend of mine, and standing talking to her at the time was then Judge Willis. We shook hands, exchanged business cards, and I got into my vehicle and left the conference. Didn't talk to her again, maybe a month or a month and a half had gone by.
Okay, and then we get into money because remember, what's important here is the financial benefit that FANI has gained from dating Nathan Wade and prosecuting this case. So her questions are specifically around what Nathan paid for when they went on vacations.
You see, I have booked the flight or I've paid for a flight with my credit card. What you don't see is that she covered her own flight reimbursement to me. The flights that you see here are the flights that she would have booked with her own resources or to her own car.
Did you take a trip with her to Aruba in 2022?
Yes, ma'am. So my mother had recently retired and I decided to take my mother on a cruise.
Okay.
And the second leg after the cruise concluded, DA Willis and I went to Aruba. So
one of the other defense attorneys gets up to question Nathan and he gets right to it.
Describe each instance in which you have had sexual relations with a person other than your spouse during the course of the marriage, including the period of separation. You see that?
Damn, he wants to know everything. Describe every chick in your rotation, player. Let's keep listening.
Sir?
Now, these were filed on May the 30th, 2023, correct?
Yes, sir.
As of May the 30th, 2023, you had had sexual relations with Miss Willis. Isn't that correct?
The interrogatory, sir, asks during the course of the marriage and the period of separation.
Excuse me.
My response,
Your Honor, I would ask that the court direct the witness to answer my question, yes or no.
My answer to this interrogatory is none, is no.
So you're saying that you did not have sexual relationships with anyone outside of your marriage, and the period of separation is during the period, then you're answering the question to this interrogatory, correct, sir?
I'm saying during the course of my marriage, I did not have sexual relations to anyone, and this answer's no.
You know what's crazy about law, and just from what I've seen, it's crazy to me how much the truth really doesn't matter, but really the evidence. Of course, we all know that, right? But more than that, the conversation, like him rebuttaling that and the way he did, because he wants to know during the course of your marriage, did you sleep with anybody else? He could say technically yes, because I was still married, but he's basing it off the knowledge that he shared that he separated with his wife in 2015. And he doesn't want to answer that because it's like that could be clipped as, oh, there you go. You know, you were sleeping with other women other than your wife. And he just wouldn't give in because of just how it would look. And it's crazy to me just how much the way things are said impact a case overall. So he's doing a pretty good job here avoiding making a mistake, understandably so. These are all lawyers here who are well versed, right? Let's keep listening.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So as of May the 30th, 2023, you have done a lot, or you had done a lot of entertaining of Miss Willis, had you not?
I had done some, yes.
And in fact, under your testimony, you would have said that she had also entertained you. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And so your answer to this interrogatory is false, is it not, sir?
No, it's not false.
This attorney also follows up about cash payments that Nathan said FANI gave him.
Then you tell us that Miss Willis paid you in cash all the money for the entire trip. That was a gift for you for your birthday, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure you probably have the deposit slips where you took the cash and deposited the cash into your account, don't you?
I did not deposit the cash in my account.
This is crazy, man. Ironically, she just so happened to pay him back in cash. So meaning she wasn't benefiting from those trips because she paid him back. Okay, well, let's see the bank transfers. Let's see the cash apps. Let's see the app. No, it was all cash, bro. It was all cash because we just use that much cash today. Thousands upon thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, guys, we know this man was out here paying for that bill. There's just no way. There's just no way. I don't think this was knowing the mindset of most women and you know, and what they expect from men who they're not married to, and a man's supposed to pay for everything, whatever. There's no way this man was just busting the cheeks and splitting 50-50 at the same time. You know, we know how these things work. Let's keep listening.
You don't have a single solitary deposit slip to corroborate or support any of your allegations that you were paid by Mrs. Willis in cash, do you?
No, sir.
Not a single solitary one.
And so he's over here saying he didn't even ask him if he had proof that she was paid in cash. He said, so let me guess, you don't have proof of that, right? And he's like, no, sir, with the smile on his face.
Not a one.
Now, when Miss Willis would pay you in cash, would you scamper down to the ATM with her?
Oh shit! He used scamper. He said, "Now, when she paid you in cash, would you scamper down to the ATM with her?" Scamper is a disrespectful word. Here, we're gonna look that up. Let's ask Miss Coffee what scamper means. Here, let's ask Miss Coffee what scamper means. It's been a while since if you don't know who Miss Coffee is, this is my AI assistant barista, Miss Coffee, the only woman that seems to drink coffee here in these videos, who's working with me. We've got a lot of chicks that drink coffee in the comment section too. Shout out to you. Yes, female subscribers. Yes, they do exist. Miss Coffee, what does scamper mean? And could you use that in an example of a sentence?
Answer: scamper means to run or move quickly and playfully, often used to describe the movements of animals or children. 1. Example sentence: the puppies scampered around the yard, chasing each other and wagging their tails excitedly.
So you guys hear that? The defense there was like, oh, so she would go to the ATM and you would just scamper your way over there excitedly to get your cash and get your money. No more waste time. Let's get back into this, man. Crazy.
And as she drew money out of her account
Your
to
Honor.
pay you these thousands of dollars?
Mr. Gillen might scamper, but there's been no evidence that Mr. Wade does. I object to the phrasing, the argumentative nature of the question.
No, sir. She didn't go to the ATM. She carried the cash.
Oh, and so she would give you the cash. And do you have a little place in your house where you just stack up all this cash that you apparently got to repay you for these benefits that you bestowed on her?
Nope, I got rid of it immediately.
Now, Mr. Gillen, if I answered that, I'm putting myself in jeopardy. If I tell the world that I have cash someplace in my home, don't you think that could be problematic?
No, I don't.
He is in Fulton County now.
I want an answer as to whether or not you have a little cash hoard in your house where you have allegedly taken the money that you got from Mrs. Willis and went and put it somewhere. Where'd you put it?
No, sir. The only special place that cash would have gone would have been to one of my children.
Did you ask
Oh
her?
man, he's good. But he's obviously kind of lying in that case. I don't know. Are you allowed to bring kids into onto the stand and ask them, there's probably some reason he said I would have given it to my children. They probably can't come and take the stand, right?
Well, do you have anything to support these cash withdrawals?
No, sir.
Were you aware of what her financial situation was? Do you know what?
No, sir. No, sir. Miss Willis made it clear that her financial business was just that. It was her business. I know nothing about her financial status. I know nothing about how she was faring before or after the election, or even now. I know nothing about her finances.
Child, and then Nathan said that he and FANI weren't secret, they were just private. He said he wasn't hiding FANI from the world, he was hiding the world from FANI.
Drake reference, sir.
I'm kidding.
If you're asking me if people knew that we were having sex, no, they didn't.
I'm asking you whether the people knew that you were dating, whether you were romantically involved. You said that it was not a secret.
Oh, it wasn't a secret. It was just private. My mother knew, obviously.
Did anyone in the district attorney's office that has worked on this case know that you were dating or had a romantic relationship with District Attorney Willis?
I don't know what they knew.
Well, did you tell anyone?
No.
One of the other questions that Nathan got was, why did he happen to file for divorce the day after he signed the contract to work on this case and work with FANI?
So, again, Joycelyn had relocated to Texas, and she had been in Texas for months. She was only here for a brief period of time to drive my daughter's car back with her. And when she came here to do that, I was able to then get her served.
On cross-examination, FANI Willis's attorney highlights that Nathan made less money when he agreed to be special prosecutor on this case. And because there was a cap on how much he could actually make, he essentially worked for free for a lot of the hours.
So as reflected in those financial affidavits, your income decreased as a result of your work in this case, correct?
Significantly.
Invoice number 9.
That's surprising. I guess I can understand how somebody could take a case because, you know, you want to be known as a person who took down a big figure, right? As attorney, I guess it would look good in your history to be involved in such a high profile case. So I'm assuming. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's keep listening.
Mr. Wade indicates that you performed hours of work that you were not compensated for because your cap had been reached.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to take and what did you do in those circumstances when the hours that you worked per month were more than the cap that was in your contract that you were permitted to be paid for?
I was forced to lose that time. I didn't get paid for it.
Nathan Wade also discloses that he was actually battling cancer during COVID, and that prevented him from dating and from going many places.
In 2020, and a portion of 21, I was battling cancer, and that prevented me from pretty much leaving the environments that aren't sterile, and I had health on my mind.
All right, so guys, if you've seen Viral Moments, these next clips you're about to see are exactly where those probably came from. FANI Willis decided to take the stand, and it almost seems like she interrupted a conversation of her potentially taking the stand and just saying, I'm doing this. Let's get this over with right now. And she came up there ready to drink the coffee. I don't think she liked the coffee now. That's not what I'm trying to say. But she did show up knowing what was about to happen. You ever seen somebody drink coffee black and they don't usually order it black, right? They're making that face. That was pretty much the whole entire interview of her on the stand. No more wasting time. Let's get it.
False interrogatory. Serious business for a lawyer or anybody.
Here she comes.
Suddenly, he's changing. She files her financial declarations. Same problems. We need her in here to go over all of this and to explain exactly what happened.
She's like, F this. Let's get it over with.
That the court allow Ms. Willis to be called and interrogated on these matters.
And I would, to Your Honor.
Just a moment.
She said, I cannot wait to, Your Honor. Whoa.
Ms. Willis. So, Ms. Cross, I don't know if you want to speak with Ms. Willis now. It's sounding like maybe they're withdrawing the objection to the motion.
I'm happy to leave the motion to,
Or does Ms. Willis want to take the lead here?
we'll draw the motion to quash Ms. Willis.
Looks like she wants to take the lead to me, guys. What do you think? Comment down below what you guys have thought so far. I'm curious. What do you think so far? Comment as you watch, man. I'm saying this a little bit late, though, into this video. Let's keep watching.
Based on the, I'm ready to go.
Okay, so.
Y'all heard her. She came in ready to go. So she gets on the stand, and I can't even recap how her testimony went. It was intense. It was contentious. It was hilarious. It was a mess. It was everything. So I'm just going to play the clips. Just get ready for a string of clips from FANI Willis's testimony. Okay.
Ms. Willis, how did you know to come into the courtroom right then?
There were people I was pacing in my office.
Okay.
And I heard someone yell, "His testimony is done." It only made sense to me that I would be your next witness. And I've been very anxious to have this conversation with you today.
Anxious.
So I ran to the courtroom.
Ran to the
To
courtroom.
meet with Mr. Wade and talk to him about the motion that I filed to disqualify you.
I don't know if you could say talked about. I probably had some choice words about some of the things that you said that were dishonest within this motion. So I don't know that it was a conversation. As you know, Mr. Wade is a Southern gentleman. Me, not so much.
Yo, she's pissed. She says, Mr. Wade is a Southern gentleman, but me, not so much. Yeah, this, I mean, imagine thinking you're about to go down in history for a RICO case and you end up being the case study. I mean, she's obviously visibly frustrated, upset, and you can tell, right? She's not hiding anything. On top of that, she does not seem apologetic at all. Seems like a difficult woman to me. Seems like a difficult woman to me. And let's keep watching.
I read the motion. I am sure I told him what my opinion of it is.
Okay.
And past that, we had no substantive conversation.
You did not. Correct.
Is there something you didn't understand?
No, I just wanted to make sure that
Okay.
you did not have.
Is there something you didn't understand? Yo.
Let's start back in 2019.
Yeah.
So you and Mr. Wade met in.
At first, I was wondering, well, where's her man at? And I mean, her husband and everything. But now we see she can't. She can't do that. No.
I don't drink coffee.
What?
I don't drink coffee.
What?
I don't drink coffee.
In October 2019 at a conference?
That is correct. And I think in one of your motions, you tried to implicate I slept with him at that conference, which I find to be extremely offensive. I stayed at that conference. Mr. Wade was my teacher. Well, it's highly offensive when someone lies on you, and it's highly offensive when they try to implicate that you slept with somebody the first day you met with them, and I take exception to it.
All right. Well, Ms. Willis, you'll have the opportunity.
She's like, I did not sleep with them the first day. I slept with them the second day.
To explain all of that when it's the state's turn to ask more open-ended questions. I think we have.
I'm very much want to be here, so I'm not a hostile witness. I very much want to be
Not
here.
so much that you're hostile, Ms. Willis. It'd be an adverse witness. Your interests are opposed to Ms. Merchant's.
Thank you.
Merchant's interests are contrary to democracy, Your Honor, not to mine.
After that, you started dating shortly thereafter, correct?
A lie. That's one of your lies.
Okay. Do you know Robin Yurdy?
I know her as Robin Bryant. I knew her. So Robin did not go to my college. She went to the college of, I went to Howard University. She went to Morgan State. In college, we hung out a bit. After college, I lost contact with her. I probably didn't see Robin again until maybe 7 or 8 years ago, but we did not have a consistent relationship from when I left college and came to Emory Law School here in Atlanta. I have not spoken to Robin in over a year. I certainly do not consider her a friend now.
During 2021, you all were friends, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And such good friends that when you needed a place to stay, you asked her if you could take over her lease.
That's a lie.
You did not move into her apartment?
I
or her
did, but
condo?
that's not the way you characterize it is wrong. Robin met her husband. They wanted to move into another and separate place. She wanted to get rid of her condo. My father was living with me at the house. Because of this case and because of my stance on gangs, my life was being threatened regularly. My father urged me to leave our home. I don't remember when, but probably March or April of 21. I move in and take over her lease.
Did you pay her cash or did you use card?
There were some times that I would give her cash, but mostly I paid her via Cash App. That would be the most convenient thing.
But what percentage would you say you paid cash versus Cash App?
Oh, the vast majority was Cash App. I don't know what percentage. I'm not going to guess that.
So let's just back up and talk about the first time that you went to Florida with Mr. Wade. But he paid for the flight and the cruise on Royal Caribbean that time.
So he is the one that would book the travel. But we need to be clear when we're talking about just because he booked it doesn't mean, like, I don't consider him having taken me anyplace.
Oh. Spoken like a modern woman. He didn't take me nowhere.
Let me just be honest. The only one that's ever taken somebody someplace is for his 50th birthday. I consider that I took him to Belize. And I took him to Belize because, I don't want to discuss his personal business, but I'm happy Mr. Wade is still here with us. And I did 50 big, very big.
So, and I'll get to the reimbursements and all that. I'm just trying to confirm he paid for the flight and the cruise in October.
And I think that when you say things that way, I want this record to be abundantly clear that he calls his travel agent and then he tells me how much it is and I give him the money back. I don't, just like you're asking me about the money with Robin, I don't do my friends like that. So if you tell me it's a G, then you're going to get $1,000. Whatever it is, I didn't ever make him produce receipts to me. Whatever he told me it was, I gave him the money back.
And then after that.
She's got her own. Shout out to Neo. Let's keep listening.
Cruise, you all flew to Aruba and spent a couple days in a hotel there, correct?
Right.
He initially paid for that.
For Aruba, yes, ma'am.
I know he initially paid for it. Did you pay him back?
For the cruise and for Aruba, yeah, I gave him his money before we ever went on that trip.
You gave him cash before you ever went on the trip?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so when you got cash to pay him back on these trips, would you go to the ATM?
No, lady.
You would not go to the ATM?
No.
So the cash that you would pay him, you wouldn't get it out of the bank?
I have money in my house.
You have money in your house. So
both of these two have money in their house.
Just money that was there.
When you meet my father, he was going to tell you as a woman, you should always have, which I don't have, so let's don't tell him that. You should have at least 6 months in cash at your house at all times. Now, I don't know why this old black man feels like that, but he does. And I always keep cash in the house. That has been, I don't know, all my life. If you're a woman and you go on a date with a man, you better have $200 in your pocket. So if that man acts up, you can go where you want to go. So I keep cash in my house.
So my question was, where did that cash originally come from? If it didn't come out of the bank?
Cash is fungible. I've had cash for years in my house. So for me to tell you the source of when it comes from, when you go to Publix and you buy something, you get $50, you throw it in there.
Wow. Yo, the way she's answering these questions. So she's saying she accumulated this cash that she stores in her house over the past few years. So basically, she can say the cash came from some transaction she made at 7-Eleven when she was getting gas years back. Right? She can look back and say, now what I'm saying if she had to show proof. She's making sure that she has enough leeway to go back is what I'm noticing.
It's been my whole life. When I took out a large amount of money on my first campaign, I kept some of the cash of that. Like, to tell you, I just have cash in my house. I don't have as much today as I would normally have, but I'm building back up now. So
all this because she decided to shit where she slept. She says they met in 2002 and started dating in 2002, but it carried over till now when she's a high-profile attorney dealing with some serious cases at the height of her career. Is pretty much the worst thing that could possibly happen, right? Is your personal, private, sexual details getting aired out to the world. Millions and millions of people now know about this.
Put money in. It's a very good practice. I would advise it to all women.
So you can't identify when you came into this cash or where the cash came from?
I didn't say I couldn't identify it. No, nobody gives me anything. I am sure that the source of the money is always the work, sweat, and tears of me. What you asked me for is, when did the money go in there?
The money that you paid Mr. Wade, the cash, in October of 2022, do not know where that money came from.
I do know where it came from. It came from my sweat and tears.
Your security detail, did they take you to and from your house? They take you to and from where you lay your head?
99% of the time.
Would they take Mr. Wade to and from wherever you laid your head?
That has never in the history of ever happened, ever, okay?
Your security team has never taken him?
From my house? That's a lie.
That's another. If they've ever taken him anywhere.
And I'm telling you that that's never happened.
So your security team has never taken Mr. Wade
My security
anywhere.
team has never taken Mr. Wade from any place where I have lived and brought him here. Never. Not once. Not ever.
So your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
And well, no. Look, I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
So my question was, do you have any problem?
I object to getting any personal records of mine.
We're not dealing with privilege through a witness.
The fact that this woman has an attitude, I get that she probably knows just how far she can toe the line. You know, this is her life's work. She knows that, but it's obvious she has more attitude than embarrassment. And there should be a degree of embarrassment here to an extent. She did do something wrong, obviously. So
when did your romantic relationship with Mr. Wade end? When did it end?
It's sometime in, I'd say late summer of 2023. So I don't believe me in, this is what you're really asking about. This is the salaciousness of all of this, right? I think that me and Mr. Wade, so he's a man. He probably would say June or July. I would say we had a tough conversation in August. And so that men in relationships at the end of physical intimacy, women in relationships when that tough conversation takes place.
So she says men end the relationship when the physical side stops. So when she was thinking back, she's trying to think, now, when's the last time I gave it up to Nathan Wade? And it sounds like it was June, July was the last time he got the cheeks. And so now she's thinking to herself, when did I have the conversation of now it's officially done? And I guess that's when women end the relationship. What do you guys think of that? Comment down below. I guess there's some truth to that.
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth,
Judge.
And it is a lie. It is a lie.
Ms. Willis?
You see.
Mr. Sano, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes. Be back in 5.
Gonna let her cool off a little bit.
And did Mr. Wade visit you at a place where you were living between 2019 and 2021?
So you want to start with the lie that he lived with me in South Fulton in 2019, a home he's never been to? That's one lie you told in your document. No.
Judge, I didn't ask her about that. And I didn't ask about living.
But you put in your, while we're talking about professionalism, while we're talking about professionalism, she put in 3 different documents he lived with me.
Full opportunity to respond.
He's never been to South Fulton. In 2019, I lived in South Fulton. He has never been to my residence in 2019, ever, not once.
In 2019, he's never been to your residence, any place.
I lived in my home in South Fulton before I started getting the threats that were here, a house I paid for with my own sweat and tears. I'm no longer able to live there. But in 2019, I did. And in the 2 months of 2019 that I knew Mr. Wade, 3 months, the beginning of October, all of November, and all of December, Mr. Wade never came to my house in South Fulton. Let me help you out. I lived there in 2020. He never came to my house in 2020, let alone live with me, as you put falsely in these documents. In the first 3 months of 2021, when I could still enjoy my home, Mr. Wade never came to South Fulton, and it is certainly a lie that he lived with me.
This woman's highly, highly, highly combative.
20. Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at a place that you resided?
He has never been to my home in South Fulton. He never visited, lived at, came to, or has seen South Fulton.
You qualified that with your home in South Fulton.
That's where I lived in 2020.
In 2020, did he ever visit you at a place that you resided? I don't understand. You want to give me that. And did you ever go out to eat together, other than the lunches you talked about, during 2019 or 2020?
I'm going to say, I don't know. I'm going to say we probably broke bread someplace in 2019. I don't remember it, but it seems like we would have broke bread sometime in 2019. So I'm going to say yes, although I have no recollection. But it seems to me like I go out to eat and drink with pretty much everyone. So I'm going to say yes.
Who paid when you went out to dinner?
He paid. I paid.
You both paid.
Okay, so let me be real clear. We didn't say, oh, the bill is $102. You give $51, I'll give $51. I don't operate like that with my girlfriends. I don't operate like that with anyone. He caught the bill, I caught the bill, whomever.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry, guys. Let's be honest here. We all know these women would not be okay with the man taking them out and not taking care of the majority of that bill, especially considering that he was making a whole lot more than she was at this point in time, and said that he actually took a pay cut. Now, could she have paid and he's game's just that strong? Yes. I'm open to that too, but most likely not.
Did you ever pay him through Cash App?
No.
You only ever paid him through cash?
Well, yes. We're talking about, I'm very confused
Now,
now.
the only money you've ever given him outside of a contract is cash.
I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute, but I didn't give him money outside in a contract. What happened is, no, we're going to answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer.
The taxpayers paid him.
And I will ask you about the contract in a minute. I asked you about cash.
If we would go to dinner, I wouldn't give him cash because he paid for dinner or I paid for dinner. I've given him cash only a few times in life, probably 4.
Okay.
Probably the most money I've ever handed him is $2,500. The least amount of money I've handed him, probably between $500 and $1,000.
You never wrote him a check?
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay. So you have no proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right?
The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my
Are you
question
telling
was, do
me
you
that
have
I'm
any
lying to you?
proof?
Is that what you're intimating right here?
I'm asking if you have any proof that you paid him any of these
The
monies.
proof is what I just told you.
When you took office, you had a tax lien of $4,600. Did you pay that with cash when you made that tax lien whole?
I probably paid through however you pay.
Okay. So, but you were saying that you had amounts of cash. You still had that lien in 2022 when you were dating Wade and going on these trips. So the cash that you gave him, that could have been used to pay this tax lien off?
You gonna tell me how to pay my bills?
I object. This is not relevant as it relates to why we're here today.
Did you tell anyone at Fulton County Board of County Commissioners about your relationship with Mr. Wade?
No.
Did you disclose your relationship to anybody at Fulton County?
No, I don't think so.
Are you aware that Fulton County requires you to disclose any relationship with someone that you're doing business with?
I'm not aware, and I know often that things are confused with state constitutional officers in county, but I'm not aware.
Okay. So you once said that you would not engage with a personal relationship with anyone that worked for Fulton County. Is that correct?
An employee?
Anyone that worked for Fulton County.
I think I said an employee.
Okay. So that's the qualification you give an employee? You wouldn't.
I think that's the statement that I made. So if you want to quote me accurately.
So it's your position because Mr. Wade was not an employee? Or it's your position he wasn't an employee, correct?
Mr. Wade is not an employee, and he will tell you that over and over again. But no, he did.
I think you have to. It's your attorney, Ms. Willis. Sorry, Mr. Bott, your objection is speculation.
Yes.
To the question of
Speculation. It's interesting that we're here about this money. Mr. Wade is used to women that, as he told me one time, the only thing a woman can do for him is make him a sandwich.
Whoa. The only thing a woman can do for him is make him a sandwich. Let me say something real quick. A lot of these chicks out here will pretend like they don't want men who expect women to seriously embrace traditional gender roles, but instead it'll be these men who they will be sexually attracted to and allowing to bust the cheeks senselessly and viciously on the low.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Yeah.
We would have brutal arguments about the fact that I am your equal.
And it would turn me on. Next thing I know, I'm getting plowed.
Need anything from a man. A man is not a plan. A man is a companion. And so there was tension always in our relationship.
Sexual tension. Yeah.
Which is why I would give him his money back. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy.
Only thing she didn't say is she don't need no man.
Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
No.
Sure.
But I'm sure we'll talk about it further.
No, we're not going to talk about it further.
All right, no back and forth. Let's stay down. Next question.
All right. So, guys, believe it or not, the general consensus here from modern women is that she handled that very well. In fact, they're seeing this as some type of female empowerment. The fact that there was no accountability. Instead of saying, I made mistakes and other women shouldn't repeat what I did, entertaining a relationship, and I should have been strictly focused on my profession and such, they're applauding her behavior. They're applauding her attitude. This is the type of women a lot of women today aspire to be. A woman who is by herself, doesn't need any man except for when she needs him sexually, and we'll let you know that. Of course, if you don't believe me, let's check out some of these comments for yourself. I'm just going to read a few here. We're already kind of into a long video. First comment here from a woman says, Wade got paid, FANI got laid, and the taxpayers got played. So, again, she's trying to say that the only thing she wanted from this was sex. Which is kind of crazy to me because we just know that's not, that's never what it really is with women, right? Another comment here says, this was the best witness I have ever watched. Here's somebody else who says, FANI Willis for governor of GA. Somebody else here added, she's amazing. I love her. And the final comment here says, not she ran up, right? So she ran up there and spoke her mind. So there's this like opinion of this being somehow a win for her, and other women see this and they think to themselves like, yo, this is the type of woman I want to be. Lacking accountability, highly combative, and difficult. And I'm looking at this, guys, again, from the perspective of watching how women are navigating today in the workplace, struggling with relationships. You've got a broken marriage here. It's just a mess all around. Of course, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. I appreciate you, as always, for checking out yet another episode of The Coffee Pod. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.